Over the course of my life, I've been blessed to have been asked a lot of questions. These questions have enriched my life. And so, what I want to do is answer these questions in these series of lessons, in lessons that I've entitled Questions You Ask 7 Minutes of Truth. And so, what I want to do is answer these questions in 7 minutes or less. And so, I hope these lessons will enrich your life and that they will encourage you to dig deeper into God's Word and that they will answer certain questions that you also may have. The first question I want to answer is, who made God? And this is a question that so many people ask, from young children to middle-aged people to older people, because the idea is, if everything had a beginning, if you say this had a beginning, if this had a beginning, obviously God in their minds obviously had to have had a beginning as well. And so we want to answer that particular question on today. The simple answer is no one did. God has always existed. There's never been a time when God has not existed, and there will never be a time when he does not exist. He's self-existent. He's eternal, meaning he has not had a beginning, nor will he have an end. So what we have here is, when you think about things that are eternal do not derive their existence or their existence from anything or anyone. Only those things that had a beginning were created or made. They are contingent beings. In other words, they owe their existence to something or someone else, and that does not apply to God. And God is a self-existing God. When God instructs Moses in Exodus chapter 3 and verse number 14 to go back to Egypt to tell Pharaoh to let his people go, Moses says, okay, when I go, the people are going to ask and say, who is this God that is sending me? The text says in verse number 14, God says to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent me to you. Look at verse number 15. God also said to Moses, say this to the people of Israel, the Lord. And whenever you see all caps and in regards to Lord, that means that's God's personal name. And it's also connected back to I am who I am, or I'll be who I'll be. The idea of it is he's self-existing. He is who he is. The God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever. In other words, he owes his existence to no one. No one has formed him. He has always been here. And then there are three arguments: the cosmological argument, the theological argument, and the moral argument. So when you think about the cosmological argument, you're thinking about whatever begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist, therefore the universe had a cause. And obviously that cause has to be outside of space and time. It cannot be within the universe. Now, which one of these options is correct? Number one, the universe is eternal. Now, we know that cannot be true. The universe was created itself from nothing. The universe can't create itself from nothing. Number three, the universe was created by something or someone eternal. That is, someone who has always existed, someone that is outside, again, space and time, someone that is transcendent. It was not created by chance. Then you have the theological argument. There is order or design, and therefore there must be a designer. You can't look at the complexity of the universe, the complexity of the human body, and think that, okay, all of this came into existence by itself. You don't look at a car, you don't look at a home, you don't look at anything and say, okay, this house, this car built itself. So why would it be reasonable to conclude that the universe built itself, the human body built itself with all its complexity? It is not reasonable to make that conclusion. If there is design, and the human body obviously has design, the universe obviously has design, there must be a designer, and that designer is God. The world shows intelligent design. There's no way you can look at the world and say that it does not display intelligent design. There must be an intelligent designer. Therefore, God exists, and he is that intelligent designer. Lastly, there is objective right and wrong. Therefore, there must be a lawgiver. Morality springs from the very nature and character of God. There are things that are always wrong, and there are things that are always right. For everyone in every location, it doesn't matter what continent you're on, doesn't matter what country you're in, doesn't matter what city you're in. It's what is right for you is right for me. What's wrong for you is wrong for me. There are certain things. There are things that are amoral, yes, but there are certain things that are wrong for everyone. It doesn't matter where you are. Also, the idea that we all have a conscience. And unless that conscience is seared, unless that conscience is affected somehow, unless that conscience is affected to the point where you have no feeling, we all have a sense of oughtness. That in that there are certain things that we feel that we must do, and there are certain things we feel that we should not do. So when you think about the existence of God, who made God? No one did. God has always been here. And the world as it stands right now, and as it has always stood, displays that there must be a God. Because where there is an effect, there must be a cause. Where there is design, there must be a designer. And where there's a sense of right and wrong, and where there's objective right and wrong, where there's objective standards, there must be an objective lawgiver. And that person is God.